What's up, good people? So check this out. So I want y'all to check out this interview I had. I was out in the field, did a little field work. Uh, and it's something a little different. We talk about relationships from Generation X opposed to Generation Z. So I got a young female, a very lovely young lady from Generation Z, and a real cool brother that's also Generation Z. And they were kind enough to come meet with me and talk to the old man and give me a perspective. I believe this is one of the many interviews that are to come. So anyway, y'all stay tuned. Got something for y'all. Check it out. What's up, good people? This Walt. As y'all can see, I got some better faces on here today. I got Mr. Tavion and Destiny. They nice enough to come through and holler at me and answer a few questions for the old man. I greatly appreciate them. Obviously, this is Tavion on the right, as y'all can see. All right. So I'm going to talk about Generation X and Generation Z. So Generation X, by definition, looks like it's 1965 to 1980. I thought it was different. Generation Z, like it's 1996 to 2012. I don't know what's in the middle of that, but we're going to talk about that. I know our generation, we was taught to like really work, do our job and just kind of get to it, go home. It wasn't a whole lot of mom took care of the house, daddy kind of did his thing. Mm-hmm. And it was more about if something happened, like he had some kind of issue internally or emotionally, you had to suck it up, just go. Mm-hmm. Tell me about y'all's generation. How'd y'all grow up? As far as just discipline goes.
Well, some people tell me I was born in the late 1900s, but
old school.
I guess I got like kind of like the best and worst of both worlds because I was born in '99. So okay. It's kind of like I was kind of at the end of that little breed of 1900 people.
I got you.
Kind of like mingling with the 2000s. So it's kind of like but I mean, growing up, I feel like I still got like the old school vibe, pretty much, or like racing. So where like I definitely got, I don't even know how many whoopings.
Yeah.
But it all made sense though after I like kind of like looked at it. Like, I mean, if I didn't get that many whoopings or that many like, oh, you can't do that or this is how you're supposed to do it, I could have been a way worse situation than what I'm currently in. So,
you think sometimes that's contributed to East Texas? Just deep East Texas got some deep kind of ways, you know.
Definitely. Especially Longview, like it's just a lot of. Most of your family either gonna be like in close proximity of them, or like they in the next town over, which is like 10 minutes away by just driving. So it's like it's a lot of like culture in it, to where it's not like city vibes. Even though Longview is kind of big for the country, as far as like the country though, it's still a big population considered to all the towns around. So
yeah. So I know they produce the best athletes in East Texas.
Come on, man. Shout out to the Lobos.
You play ball?
Of course, I play football. Yes,
what position, bro?
I started off as a cornerback, but then I transitioned to wide receiver because pitch was my thing. I love it. Like as soon as I see that ball, I need that.
So, you going?
So they seen that I was like, pretty good with the hands. So they was like, you might as well try your receiver. So I fell in love with it because just like. I feel like it's a better thing to do as offensively than defensively. Like trying to stop somebody, you gotta be on some young boy. Like you gotta be just wanting somebody to fail. But offense, you route somebody up, catch touchdown, turn up the whole stadium. Like
yeah.
Good vibes.
Yeah. Especially if you got the skill, man. You long and tall, so I think wide receiver they loving that.
Sir,
got some hops too.
Of course. Come on, man.
He's like, come on, man. So, did you get a lot of whoopings you growing up?
By my daddy, yes.
For real?
My daddy, yeah. He put that little to that butt, man.
Daddy
he
didn't play?
Definitely did. My mama, she was light on me, but my daddy, he definitely did.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for it now because I probably wouldn't be the way I am today if it wasn't for that.
Right.
I know a lot of the reasons why he did what he did was to make me a better person and growing into a better woman. I wouldn't have as much respect as I do for people and myself if he didn't do that.
I believe that. I believe that. And I've seen you a few times just in small conversations. I was like, you're very bright.
Oh, thank you.
So when I asked you to be on the podcast, you knew somebody I already knew. I said, whoever you pick, I know going to be good.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. Your daddy did a good job.
Thank you.
Now, I know your daddy was a famous comedian, right?
Yeah, he's still do comedy.
Yeah. I know we talked about that briefly. So, yeah. Did you ever go to any of his shows?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I was one of his number one supporters outside of his wife.
Yeah.
I've been going to his shows since I've been out of college I've been out of college since 2017.
Mm-hmm.
I've been going to his shows ever since.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I'm thinking about if how we grow up affects how we are in relationships. Now, for our generation, it was more about the man was almost what they consider now toxic masculinity. Like we was like, hey, get right or get left kind of thing, right? Mm-hmm. But in y'all's generation, it seemed like it's a little different. So if y'all can just kind of give me a little piece of that, what y'all think about relationships and how the dynamic is when it goes from, let's say it's a conflict, like you don't agree on something. How do y'all handle that now? Is it talk about it? People take their little space, or how do they do it?
I like to talk about things because I don't like things to like roll over, like dwindle over, because I feel like that like builds up animosity and like tension, and then you're like burying things. And I'm like, why not talk about it? We ain't got to argue. Mm-hmm. We can express ourselves without having to argue.
Right.
You know, I think sometimes people think they try to vocalize themselves in a negative connotation. It doesn't have to be like that, or try to yell or do all that unnecessary tactic. Like that doesn't have to be. If you have a good communication between each other, I feel like talking out of issues shouldn't be a problem.
Right.
Even if you don't see eye to eye, it's just like, okay, I view it this way, you view it that way. But I hope we can get each other's perspectives, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm not an argumentative person either. So, like, I like to talk about things.
Get it cleared out. Put it on the table, see what it's going to be.
I'm going to say how I feel. But yeah.
You feel the same way about that, my brother?
Yeah, of course. But, I mean, there are certain situations where it may get to an argument type. So, it's like, if it is an argument, it's like, don't be just going crazy, though. Like,
right.
Like, being a DV, which is domestic violence. Don't be DVing, like, it goes both ways, because women still put their hands on men and all that. Yeah. It's like, as long as it's like, we can argue and still be cool afterwards, it's like, you know, because obviously it's not going to be a perfect world. We're going to argue. No. Yeah. It's maybe like, we can argue over just the littlest thing, like, which ice cream is better. But if it's like, then like, boil over to another conversation that has nothing to do with whatever's going on at that certain moment, to where it's like, it's constantly affecting you. You keep on trying to hold baggage and grudges. I'm good. I ain't gonna lie. I'm chilling.
Right.
Well,
I don't think it makes any sense to even go back and forth anyway. Once you realize somebody not with it, it's like, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
And I tell you, I learned it took me a long time to figure this out, but I think most relationships end up in arguments when one person's not being heard, or they feel like they're not being heard. You know, and over time, what I learned was just to try to create a safe space. Like, hey, baby, what's up? She get mad. Hey, we ain't got to agree, but go ahead. You know, what's up? You know, and I think once that happens, they may not agree, but they more reasonable about how it's gonna go. You know, yeah. And something else I was thinking about before. I see a lot of times some of these young boys that come up kind of gangster-like. I really don't think that's really good. I have my own opinion on that, but I ain't gonna get too deep into that. But I think they more toxic. It seems like some of the young girls more attracted to the toxic guys until they learn, like, hey, this really ain't going good. You know? And for my generation, we always thought there's two kind of guys: a girl like the pretty boy or the bad boy. Is that about right? I don't know.
Well, now that I am older, I have. I'm like not. That's not my mentality anymore, but I did used to like pretty boys, and you know, I like a guy. I used to like a guy that got a little thug to him. I like a very protective man though. Sure. Like I love that type of thing. He ain't necessarily got to be gangster, but if you don't play about me, that's what I like. You know what I mean? But I think, you know, people normalize that type of behavior nowadays. They think it's cool, or how their portrayal of it, you know, on social media, especially. Social media kind of like messes with their mind as far as how they view guys in that perspective.
Right.
But little do they know that's not healthy. It's usually a deep-rooted problem as to why they act like that. And ladies just see it as they'll be in La La Land or whatever, and I'm like, that's not healthy. Right. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of the time, they could have witnessed it growing up, like generational curse. I don't know if you know anything about that, but yeah, that's a real thing. So they could be used to that type of behavior, and it's normal in their mind. Right. But in reality, it's not a healthy way of going about a relationship, or when you're looking for someone. You shouldn't have that mindset when you're looking for somebody.
Right.
So,
right. I mean, my definition of a gangster is kind of different, though. It's like, because all a gangster is, because it kind of all obviously like being whitewashed and, you know, have different narratives behind the name. Right. But if you think about the original gangster, like just that phrase in itself, it's like dudes who is about whatever they say they is about. They have a certain set of rules or stipulations they have to portray themselves as a gangster. And they just, whatever they say, they're going to do it. So it's like, my definition of like a gangster is like, okay, it could also be like some type of violence or whatever to it, but it can be somebody that's a billionaire. Like that's gangster, like closing with action, being able to create a business, being able to continue doing that daily. I'm trying to have profit, or even being a father, like having that choice to commit your life to a child. Like, that's gangster. Like not everybody can do that. So it's like, basically it's just like, if you're able to really just be about something that people consider hard and impossible, and you actually consistently doing it. Because that's all gangsters basically doing. They say, oh yeah, I'm finna take over this block, I'm finna do this, and that. If they put their mindset to anything else, then you would think that the greatest person ever. But it's like, they just chose to either go good or bad with it. So it's like,
right. So, more like man-like qualities. That's how I look at it. More like man-like qualities. It's so crazy now. I see some guys that they think that. Let me back up. To me, I believe that a man that can do something but don't do it, but you know he can, is masculine. Sometimes the part is, you know I can get to you. I ain't gonna take that unless you make it go there. You know, like you used to talking about protective. Like you're a tall dude, big dude. You can look, he got skills, right? But you think, well, you know he can. You don't have to. We ain't gotta take it there. We can if we want to, but we ain't got to. You know, it's that kind of thing. So.
Yeah, it reminds me of I think it's Jordan Peterson, when he was basically saying like it's better to have the ability to basically like either defend or like attack people. Like basically it's better to have a warrior mentality and not use it than not having a warrior mentality and still not doing anything. Because it's like even if some type of threat comes, it's like you was never going to be able to defend yourself anyway. So it's like it's better to maintain that than to not have it. So,
for sure. Having that ability to.
Yeah.
That's absolutely true. I think sometimes being a man is just a matter of walking away. Yeah. You know, the consequences are more like, this is going to cost me my family, my job, and is it really worth all that? And every time I do something, I'm affecting my wife, my kids if you're married, or any relationship, any career. Is it really worth it? Nah. You know what? And I appreciate y'all. I'm not going to do a whole lot, but I want to appreciate y'all and thank y'all for even coming. And I'm going to do some more. I'm going to do a part 2. Because I can't really pay y'all yet, I ain't going to take up a whole lot of your time. I'm going to get y'all a little gift at the end. And if y'all want to, y'all can get your Instagram and your brand. I see you got your Zossi.
You feel me?
Let's see if I can put you on camera, man, see what your shirt look like.
Oh, yeah.
Do it for the people.
I really got it on.
I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Okay, let me get to, there we go. That's your brand, right?
Yes, sir.
And it's on your Instagram?
So, yes, sir. Pretty much you can just look up either Zossi, Zaucey, or you can just look up Zoss Boss on YouTube, Zossi on Instagram, pretty much anything Zossi, but my name is Tavion Shaw, so if you Google it or go on Instagram, it's going to pop up.
Sweet, appreciate you. And this is Miss Destiny.
Hey, y'all. So my Instagram is Des Ellis, DESELLIS. You can follow me on there. I do have a YouTube channel. but I haven't uploaded anything on there recently. I just have old videos. Y'all not gonna look at those. But
we gonna
when
get
I
to
start
it.
posting, I got y'all.
Appreciate you. All right. That's gonna end it for now. But I sure appreciate y'all. Thanks again.
Bye.
All right, peeps.
Can you keep a secret? You can? Well, put the phone to your ear. You got it there?